You're on camera now, so be nice. Anyway, if you had this person say for like 4 days, what would be the things that you'd work with her on?
Start by taking her poles away. No,
You go right,
seriously.
you go right to the polls, huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because her skis most of the time are parallel. She does have some good moves, and I think if you take the poles away, that makes you have to ski with your legs.
I would work on upper and lower body separation first, and then go to the poles. Her
Cool.
upper body's following her skis.
Whoever you are, can you
all
mute
the time,
yourself
isn't she?
if you're talking, please?
Yeah, I got her. Actually, I can't. Oh no, she's muted. Anyway, yeah, because she's pretty square, right?
Yes.
Cool. So if you're going to work on separation, what would you work on first? Because separation, as we have been working, there has been a theme for this whole year, right? You may not have guessed what it is, but there is a theme. If you're going to work with her on that, what is there a fundamental or a pair of fundamentals you'd look at first? I mean, obviously, separation is going to involve some kind of rotational separation.
So we're talking about edging and rotation.
Could be. How is she on her outside ski pressure? How does she pressure her outside ski? How does she create edge? How does she rotate the skis? We've kind of identified an issue with our fore aft. How does that affect those other three fundamentals? And then, of course, we don't know anything about her, right?
Right.
I mean, she might be a 62-year-old engineer who thinks this is the greatest thing ever and is just looking for those tips and tricks to make her a little bit more effective on blue runs. And you're just like, okay, well, or she could be like, hey, I really want to ski bumps. I got 4 days to learn how. And we can see from this kind of movement profile, skiing bumps is not going to be a whole lot of fun.
No.
But I agree with you, Pete. I would like to see some separation as an outcome. And then I get to pick and choose the things I want to work on in order to get us there. And it could be a combination of rotation and edging, or it could be a combination of rotation and outside ski pressure.
Yes.
I'll let her decide. Through her movements, through her reactions, and through her feedback.
Do you all think she's carving well or just sliding?
No, this is just skidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little bit of steering there, like right there at the end of the shaping phase, but it's over, and then it's kind of like skidding.
Yeah, you could see that the
She's using all of the edging profile or the edging outcomes. I'm sorry, of the rotational outcomes. She pivots at the top, then she steers in the middle, and then she skids at the end. Right?
And would that necessarily point to, if you were training her, focus on edging?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to say fore and aft, because it looks like she has a lot of inside pressure.
Well, she does and she doesn't, right? I
Mhm.
don't see a lot of the really bad telltale signs that she has a lot of inside ski pressure,
Okay,
but I don't see that she's aligned over the outside ski.
hmm
If she
yes,
was aligned over the outside ski, she would be she would have more angulation.
But
And
she does have some fore aft and some angulation.
she does have some fore aft. She's moving fore aft, but she's moving back and up and then catching back up in the
Yeah.
middle. What we'd like to see her do is move forward at the beginning and then allow the skis to catch up in the middle. That
mhm.
would be the ideal. She has some angulation, but I'm looking at that outside ski right now and I notice that it's skidding. And that makes me think that she doesn't understand ankle angulation. And I've been noticing this kind of pattern throughout. Look at that. It doesn't look like she's got any ankle angulation at all.
Very open.
It's not the open part, it's the fact that she's just not doing this inside her boots.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And like right here, this is a great example of it. That outside ski looks like it's way flatter than her boot is, which means she's released her ankle tension and she's just letting the skis just flatten out. And then she's doing the same thing with the inside ski. So she's not really got ankle tension to create an edging outcome with her ankles. We're going to talk about those biomechanics again today.
Is this somebody that's going for their level 2 exam?
I don't know. This was a year before me, so I don't know. I mean, these are Tommy
Yeah.
G videos. So, I assume, I mean, that's obviously British Breezeway. So cool. Everybody see
I
what I
think
see?
that,
Or
can I just say one thing? I think
yeah.
that, listen, conversation, the upper lower separation has a lot to do with everything.
Oh,
If you can't get your inside half ahead of your outside half, you can't roll your edges. If you're just square, how do you roll your edges? You tip, but then you can't tip any more than that. So it's like, I think that's a huge part of it.
no, and again, I mean, I think you're 100% right. Your ability to line your center of mass over your base of support is 100% what we are trying to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the basis of support changes all the time. Normally, it's the inside edge of the outside ski.
Mm-hmm.
But in her case, I mean, she's being successful.
Yeah, there she
But
is. She's okay.
I feel like there's some misunderstanding there, and a lot of it has to do with. Well, I mean, I would have to tackle the fore aft issue right off the bat, but I would be talking to her about ankle tension
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that happen with her ankles inside of her boots.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I would try to do some things to get her to feel something different that
yeah,
she's
yeah,
not
yeah.
feeling.
Oh,
And she
that's
would, you know
100%
what I
the
mean?
goal. Yeah, we got
I
to.
would have her go down the hill without the poles and take her, what is it? I think it's I can't remember. I'm sitting in the car. Her inside hand to her outside knee. Boy, oh boy, that gets your inside half ahead, and that gets you on the front, and that gets your back at a good angle. She would feel something so different coming
Yeah.
from those skis if she could do something like that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like I would like to do something similar to that and explore that the first day. Let's add some edging and a little fore aft and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I just thought I'd share this one. This one's a blast from the past, and I thought I'd share it. This was actually a tag in AJ's original presentation. I was kind of hoping he'd be here today. His original presentation on it, which I highly encourage you guys to look at again. It's got a lot of good stuff in there. We had some really good stuff in there. All right, so how's everybody doing?
Good, good.
Cool.
Beautiful weather out here.
Has it been hot?
Now here it's like 78 and low humidity. It's just spectacular.
Where are you at?
Outside of Philadelphia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, the city today was gorgeous.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it,
It was
Rebecca? Gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful.
yesterday was supposed to be 96 with 106%, 106
Oh.
heat index, and it got to
Ooh.
87 and was just beautiful. And then today it was only supposed to be 83 and was like 91 with stunning
supposed-
humidity. Was
Where
just-
are you, Chuck?
I'm in Lawrence, Kansas.
In Kansas.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they said it's hot there. Weird.
just on the other side of hell right now. Yeah, we're supposed to get some rain, and the temperature changes all the time. Wednesday was supposed to be 102, now it's down to 93. It's just changing all the time around here.
So
Whatever weather outlook you were looking at the night before, it's gone by the next morning. It's crazy. So,
Aye.
all right, cool. So let's go ahead and get started with this mess. View slideshow. All right, cool. So, oops, sorry. We're talking about edging. And we're going to go into the more nuanced parts of edging. Actually, I was supposed to say part 2, but that's all right. Fundamental, again, control edge angles through a combination of inclination and angulation. Obviously, we've seen this a million times or heard it a million times or experienced it a million times, one of those two. One of those several outcomes. Last week, we reviewed the 3 recognized ways to tip skis. Does everybody remember what those are? 2 of them are in the fundamental. Don't everybody else shout them out at once. Inclination, angulation. Anybody got the 3rd? Gonna have to go back and review then. Last one is displacement. That's literally taking the ski up and moving it out and putting it on an edge. We see that all the time with our kids and our beginners. Wedges is a great example of displacement, because basically we just put the skis out from underneath us and put them on edge automatically. That's a great way to think about displacement. Skis continue to tip relative to the slope. So even though that they may be tipped at the top, they're going to be even more tipped at the bottom of the turns because the slope gets a little steeper. Went over the tips, went over what tips and when according to some desired outcomes. So we're like, we know what the ideal is. We incline to tip, and this is the ideal. We incline to tip early, and then we use angulation to regulate our tipping, regulate our pressure. But again, that depends on the outcome. Bump skiers don't incline. Racers are all inclined and don't have a lot of angulation. If you're talking about high speed, I'm talking about downhillers and super G'ers, right? And then in between, we're going to be using a combination of both. All right, cool. This preview is for this week is going to be, yeah, so we have him and he's inclining, right?
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you one quick question?
And this
Where
is
it says
this is just all angulation. Right, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just on the review. Tip skis, I get the ankles, I get the knees, I get the hips. The head?
Head, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Head, spine, shoulders. These all can be can be things that we tip. And
Okay.
some are good and some are bad. We'll kind of go over that. If you want to dive deep into that discussion, we can. I only dedicated one slide to the kind of others, but if
Right.
you want to expand on those, I'd be happy to talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, I get the ankles, knees, and hips, as primary,
Right.
but I never thought about the head.
actually, one of one of our examiners taught me that tip the head in the direction opposite to where you want to go, and that kind of creates angles.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Let's kind of watch old Riley over here. He kind of he keeps his head very steady, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
In order to do that, he has to tip it from one side to the other because his shoulders are always tipping,
Right.
right?
But is this the 80-20 rule where, if you don't tip your ankles, you're going to have lots of problems.
Yeah, the head is not going to cause the skis to move.
Right. Right. No,
Well,
that's where I was kind of lost.
You're trying to move 4% of the body to make the other 96% do stuff, and that's not really going to be effective, right?
Mhm. Right. Right. No, okay. I'm okay then.
And then on this back, I mean, this guy right here, if he twisted his head just a little bit, he'd be gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the head is important. It's very, very important. Kind of it's all because most of our sensory perception is in our head. So yeah, you have to kind of include that. So anyway, why do we incline? Why do we angulate? We're just going to go right in that incline because we're going to be talking about toppling, which is more inclination. So we're going to talk about angulation first, right? And this guy, I love this guy. This is that guy that where the head always stays in the middle of the frame. I just love this perspective. It's awesome. Inclination is used to create tipping. It's a or edge angle. It depends on how you want to call it. It tips the skis. Angulation is what's used to adjust the balance over the outside ski's edge. Anybody want to argue against me?
Wish I was capable of.
And again, it depends on the outcome that you're looking for. This is the ideal, not necessarily the rule. So there are going to be times where guys, like you'll see it all the time. Like this guy right here, he angulates kind of in a transition phase, but he does it from the ankles. And you can very definitively see it. It's pretty quick, but he does it. And that's really so that when he engages the tips of his skis, he's got something that's starting to engage. He's not doing it because that's the thing that you need to do right then and there. This is straight from Tom Gelly. The best skiers in the world work less on angulation and more on inclination. And that whole idea of balancing over the outside edge. And they use angulation not as the one thing, but as a way to regulate their ability to edge and balance. Remember, the outcome is always balance, right? We always want to balance. And all the fundamentals are helping us balance. And edging is like one of those critical features to the balance thing. We have to create a platform, and that's the only way we can do it is put the ski on edge. All right, why angulation? I love this. I finally found this. I couldn't believe it. Stumbled upon it, and it's a video. Hold on. And this is a great illustration of a concept that not very many people. Oops, so hold on. That's the wrong one. I just went right back to the slide deck. Where are you at? 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 It's PowerPoint. Screen 1, screen 2. Well, here it is. All right, cool. So this is a video from an Italian guy who talks about cool stuff. Anyway, this is inclination. He's just standing on 2 pieces of plastic. And you can see what happens when he does that. And this is just straight inclination. And here is angulation. And the point that he's making is that when you angulate, your center of mass does not travel very far from the base of support. So, but when you are inclining, you move the base of support away from the center of mass. And as you do that, you lose the ability to put downward pressure on the edge of the skis. You can put pressure on. There's pressure always there because of centrifugal and forces, but angulation allows you to directly affect how the pressure along the edge of the ski.
Also, look at what happens to his feet
Yeah,
when he angulates as opposed to just inclining, where the heel comes off when he's just inclining, whereas here he's just like on the edges of both feet
yeah.
and he's got more room.
But see how
You-
much closer the center of mass is to the base of support. The center of mass is almost over the inside edge. He's more aligned. And he's able to exert more pressure on those edges. And more pressure means more penetrating power.
Mhm.
Love this video. Glad I found it. Here we go. Cool. Anybody got any questions on that? I think he cheated a little bit, but that's beside the point. All right, ankle angulation. We're going to go into a little bit of the biomechanics. You guys remember the subtalar joint? Can you point to your subtalar joint? No? All right. So the ankle is actually two joints. There is what we call the true ankle joint. And when we usually talk about the ankles, we talk about this, right? We have dorsiflexion and we have plantar flexion, right? Dorsiflexion is when the toes go up and plantar flexion is when the toes go down, right? We're planting our toes. Some people think dorsiflexion is like the dorsal fin of a dolphin. I think that's silly, but whatever visualization works for you. All right, and then we have what we call the subtalar joint, and the subtalar joint works like this. And you can see the little GIF down here showing the movement of the subtalar joint. And the subtalar joint allows us to evert and invert our ankles. So invert would be going inwards. Outside of the foot goes in, and then eversion is where the big toe goes down. And then when we start talking about pronation and supination, when we pronate our foot, the subtalar joint everts, abducts, and dorsiflexes. So put your feet on the ground, put a little bit of ankle tension on them, and then try to turn your instep down in, your arch of your foot down, and look what happens to your foot. It tends to evert, abduct, which means to move to the outside, and dorsiflex.
So why, other than being technically correct, do we need to know that?
Because where do you think ankle flexion or ankle angulation comes from? Ability to adjust the pressure on the inside of the boot according to our foot.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Supination, again, if you supinate, that means you kind of turn your foot to the inside. It everts, it adducts, which means it moves to the inside, and then it plantar flexes.
I have a question. How do you, like in my ski boots, I
Yeah.
cannot move my ankles. I mean, if I can
Actually,
move
you
them a
should be able-
millimeter or
You
two,
don't
that's
move, and again, you don't move your ankles,
okay.
right? I mean, you have limited mobility moving back and forth. And
Right.
you have limited mobility moving the column of your lower leg. What we're talking about is under the foot, the actual foot part.
Right.
That actually has the ability to move inside your boot. And if it does not, you need to go talk to a boot fitter. because you have to be able to move your foot inside your boot. So yes, we have limited mobility. Everybody's always says all the time, I can't really move my ankles. Well, you can. You just got to figure out that you have to realize that the ankle is actually two joints, not just one. Any questions on this? This is a very, very cool thing about our ankles. I don't think I talked to you guys about this last year. The subtalar joint rotation converts lower leg rotational movement to a linear movement of the foot like a torque converter. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you rotate your lower leg, it will translate that lower leg movement into a rotational movement along your foot. Don't let the language confuse you too much. Lower leg rotational movement is along the up and down axis, which is going to convert it into a linear movement. All they're saying is like a torque converter. It's like those gears that you see there. So when using a closed chain tension, you have to, in order for this to work, you have to have your ankle in tension. The lower leg rotates outward externally. The ankle supinates and inverts as a response. And you can do this on the floor. You can do this in your chair. You can lift your toes up a little bit and then rotate the lower leg to the outside. And your foot will automatically tip onto the outside edge. Same thing. When you have a little bit of ankle tension and you rotate the leg inwards, you just move your knee from one side to the other. The ankle will pronate and evert in response. I think this is just like one of the coolest things about our bodies.
So this is just big toe, little toe.
It is big toe, little toe, exactly. But what was the key thing that I said in that whole thing? You have to have a closed chain ankle tension, which means you have to maintain ankle tension. If you relax your foot, there is still a response, but it's not like it was before. So we're talking about that first woman there. One of the things I noticed is that she had her feet were flat and she was allowing the skis to flatten out because she didn't have any closed chain ankle tension. I want to investigate ankle tension, which is going to help her move forward in her boots and allow her to edge more effectively with finer movements that are closer to the skis. A little thing about this is that this rotational movement is almost one-to-one, which means if you rotate your lower leg a little bit, your foot's going to be a little bit. You rotate your leg a lot, it's going to be a lot. Any questions on that? Trying to move this along. I'm trying to get this done in an hour and 15. Knee angulation. The knee angulation is a result of femoral, tibial, and fibular roll. And the reason why is because the knee is generally considered what we call a stability joint, which means by itself, it has limited rotational and limited lateral movement. And we don't want to exacerbate it. But as you can see, this guy that's on the GIF here, he's doing his window wipers. The knee can move a lot, but it's because it's really between two mobility joints, namely the hip joint and the ankle joint. The combination of the two ankle joints together, the tie. Oh my God, I forgot them already. The
subtalar.
Yeah, the subtalar and the true ankle joint. Those are considered what we call mobility joints. The whole foot is really just a mobility joint. But we also have a really, really high mobility joint in the hip which allows us to roll the knees very effectively. And those are the angles that you see in skiing is really the femoral, tibial, and fibular roll, not the knee actually rotating.
Well, what this guy is doing is a good exercise for the hip flexors, actually.
Oh, this is a fantastic exercise. I didn't think I could do that this year. And then and I do so much yoga, I was like, oh my God, this was easy. Because I've been working on, because when you stop on one side, you can actually hold that. It becomes like an abdominal exercise that really hits right up in here. Really, really great exercise. Highly recommend it. Really changed. I discovered this kind of window wiper thing about 3 to 4 years ago as a concept and really took off on it. Love it. Very simple for me to introduce knee angulation into the equation. Because I always thought, oh, you just bend your knee over. No, that's not really how that works. Because it doesn't move, you're not really compromising the knee integrity by causing lateral knee movement. The knee can move like 7% laterally, but it puts it in such a weak state that we don't want to encourage that. It's a bad idea.
Hey, they're a little bit harder to do than he looks like. I was just trying to do them. Holy cow.
All right, the hip angulation. The hip and the pelvis is really cool because most of the great big, really fantastically strong muscles we have are all surrounding the hip and pelvis. The hip, by the way, technically is the outside of the pelvic girdle, but a lot of people think it's the outside of this of the femur. The femur bulb right there is actually where a lot of the great big giant muscles attach that allow us to abduct, adduct, extend, go behind. I can't remember what that is right off the top of my head. I should know those terms. And also allows us to do this right there, that femoral roll right there. It's really, really important in the knee angulation. Tons of movement all directions. Love this illustration. Any questions there? Hip angulation. All that power and mobility allows the body to effectively stack over opposing forces. And basically, I'm showing where is the most angulation that you see in Michaela there.
We're at the hip.
It's around the hip. Around the hip. We go back to this guy. Where is the most angulation at? Right around the hip region, isn't it? So what she's doing, well, we'll come back to this. Other things, this is your slide for you, Jeff. We do have head angulation. Helps us on balance with our balance system by giving visual. A lot of our sensory perceptors are in our head. We learn to keep our head level. It'll actually aid us in our balance because the body loves it when our heads are straight and not crooked or tick-tocking, things like that. It tends to confuse our sensory system. And our sensory system in skiing really depends on our visual acuity. And then we have spine angulation. And this is defined in a lot of different ways. I am choosing to look at it from the pelvic tilt aspect. We could talk about this quite a bit if you wanted to. So there are times where, when we're talking about skiing for the most part, you see how the pelvis kind of aligns with the upper body here? Well, there are times where it doesn't. And there are people that will go ahead and move their pelvis with their lower body, or they'll create an independent part where the upper body does its thing, the pelvis does its thing, and the lower body does its thing, right? The legs will do their thing. And it kind of creates these like multiple angles. The problem with that is that the pelvis girdle is connected on our body through the lumbar system. And the lumbar joints are a stability joint. Anybody tell me why?
Why, meaning what? Because of the psoas muscles or?
It's right here. So the lumbars are like right here. There's basically nothing here to hold us up except for our lumbar spine right here. So, except a whole bunch of muscles. And if you compromise the lumbar spine by twisting it or creating an arc in it, now it has the ability to arc. It doesn't have the ability to articulate. However, if you can keep it straight, you can really load it up because it's meant to be a stability joint. It's meant to be loaded. But if you articulate it and try to load it, you significantly weaken it. And that's why when you start talking to high-end ski instructors and clinicians and trainers, they will say, no, the pelvis is actually part of the upper body because we want to create a closed chain between our pelvis and our torso and use those muscles that are around our gut to support us instead of letting just the lumbar do it for us. Does that make sense? But there will be a lot of times where you'll see a lot of pelvic movement, a lot of rotation. We see it all the time. Questions? And even with all that angulation, we only need to stay aligned over the inside edge of the outside ski. So the big, powerful muscles of the pelvis allow us to articulate more. And we angulate just enough that we can align the inside edge of the outside ski through the center of mass. And you can see it quite clearly. So the center of mass is going to be somewhere around the zipper line here. And the outside edge is at the end of the green line, and it goes right through the middle of his knee.
Where's the line? Oh, I see.
And I did the same thing with Michaela here too. Her inside edge goes right through the middle of her knee, right to the center of mass. So she's angulating just enough to align those joints. She's not overdoing it. You guys starting to see a theme here after all these weeks?
Would you mind going back one slide?
Yeah.
I was just
outside ski, outside ski, outside ski.
Well, I mean, you see it as outside ski. What I'm saying is that every time we move, we're doing what? Our body is
Balance.
aligning over that pressure point.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I'm gonna try to get somebody else to help me out with rotation next week.
Well, I think we're just balancing.
We're balancing.
Fine.
Exactly. We're balancing. But not only are we balancing, but we're balancing in a way where we are at the strongest possible position to
Mhm.
rest. Because we can balance pretty easily, but it won't be very pretty. But we wanted to align so that we can resist these incredible forces that we can build, especially in a turn that she makes, which can be 3 to 4 times her body weight in a turn that she's making.
Mhm. You said we need to stay aligned, and I didn't get the rest of that sentence on the slide.
Which one? This one? Oh, no, this one. No, this one.
No, we need to stay aligned over the inside edge of the outside ski. Okay.
The inside edge of the outside ski, which is where the purchase is at. That's
Mhm.
where the ski is embedded in the snow.
Yep. And
See,
so go,
Benny Waltz right there, he agrees.
Mhm. But think about that lady we were looking at where she was
Yeah.
doing a lot of slipping and sliding.
Oh, yeah, let's go back to her. Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, let's go back up
And
here.
it looked to me like her skis were relatively flat and just shining,
Yeah,
as opposed to staying aligned over the inside edge of the outside ski.
so here she is right here. Is she aligned over the inside edge of the outside ski?
No,
No, to me, it looks like she's on the inside ski.
She kind of is a little bit on the inside ski. So here's this part of the body. Here's this part of the body. Somewhere in
Mhm.
there is a center of mass. I would say that she's sort of aligned over the inside ski edge, but we're at the end of the turn. I would hope that she would be at least a little bit there. But what
Mhm.
happens when she gets to this point, right? Is she over the inside edge of the outside ski now?
I don't see it.
She tends to square up, like
Mhm.
right there,
Yeah.
where her shoulders are at. Shoulders are tilted this way. Hips are tilted this way. Body's tilted this way. There's a little bit of angulation there, right?
Mhm.
So there, yeah. And that's why Peter was like, hey, I'd like to work on some separation. The whole
Mhm.
point of separation is to align our bodies over the outside ski through a rotational and lateral separation. She doesn't have any of that. Well, she does a little bit, and it happens very, very late in the turn. Like right about, oh, finally there, right? When she's skidding out. And it's right here, nothing, nothing, and then she kind of skids out.
Mhm.
Right here, and then there's nothing, it skids out. And the alignment happens because of the skidding and not really because of the body position. Right. That's not great.
yeah, but here at the outside ski's practically off the snow.
Yeah. So that's where I've got lots and lots of videos. So we got to go look at let's look at some World Cup skiers. One of my favorite videos. Woo! I mean, look at that angulation.
My word.
Yeah. That's why I firmly believe this is her superpower. Is her ability to angulate with her and keep not just to angulate, but keep that upper body just, a lot of these other girls, they're very, very good skiers. Don't get me wrong. But look at the angulation they're creating. But it's just enough.
Well, that's the point that Deb Armstrong made in this last video of
Yeah,
we
with
should really look at World Cup and learn from sort of just ski down instead of like going from technical PSIA skiing to racing, go the other way.
no, and I agree with her. But I agreed with her. I agreed with the same thing back in 1996 when a real divergence was happening in PSIA back then. Was they were kind of going, well, the World Cup is doing this thing and we're doing this. We're all about pretty and they're about function. And I was, big time racing. I wanted function. This is a strong girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I only use as much angulation as I feel like I need right now. And that is it. she's so strong. She doesn't really hardly even angulate that much with her knees, but she does, because there it is, right? She's just strong. She's a beast. This one's a more finesse skier. But you can see that the angulation, even though it's there, is not like ankles, knees, and hips are, and that whole thing of ankle, knees, and hips. I mean, there's only so much ankles can do. There's only so much the knees can handle. The hips can handle a lot. And then after the hips can't handle it anymore, you just straight ass incline. But the body makes that decision. You don't have to say, okay, I'm at 79 foot-pounds right now. This is how much I gotta dial up these these angulation points. The body figures it out. Ooh, that's a short impulse. Cool. Questions? It's 8 o'clock. I only got 15 minutes. All right. Who wants to talk about toppling? Anybody have any ideas what toppling is?
I looked at the video, but I didn't come away with a great feeling.
It's kind of nuanced. It's not difficult to understand, but it's more nuanced than he lets on. And what he's talking about is this idea that it's actually a really simple idea. And his demonstration was along the lines of, hold on. So his demonstration was, when we align our base support over a center mass, it's centered, like right now I'm on 2 feet. So my center of mass is in the middle, right? What his idea is that in order for me to move my center of mass this way, I have 2 choices. I can either push with one leg. If I'm down here and I push with this one leg, I will move. Whoop. See? Or he says, I just take away the base of support on the other side. As long as I don't realign my center mass like I just did here, as long as I don't move laterally with my center mass, I can let gravity do it for me. And that's what he means by toppling. And that's why he uses the word toppling. I'm here now, and he uses the Lego man as an example. He's got like a Lego man. The Lego man's got 2 legs that are down. And he takes one leg and he puts it up and he puts it back on the table, and the Lego man automatically falls to one side. And the idea is that if I take away this base support on one side, I can move as long as I don't realign my center mass. So right now I'm coming out of one turn. I'm moving into the next turn. I have 2 choices. I can either push through this leg that's extended, or I could just take that away and move right in. Which one's faster?
Well,
Making a
clearly
run.
the second one. So essentially, what he's saying is soften the old outside.
And in a lot of
leg.
cases he is, Rebecca, but he's also saying not just soften, get it out of the way.
Well, is he saying deliberately get out of balance by almost falling?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the argument that a lot of people have with him about it, is that it's kind of like glorified falling.
Yep.
But you probably heard that skiing is basically falling down the hill and letting the skis catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, everybody's heard that a million times. And what he's saying is, yeah, fall, but fall in such a way that you're conscious that you will catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases you can, in some other cases you can't, right? But the idea is that and part of his idea and his rationale is that the body and the brain are designed to stay in balance. And you have to, in order to get this accomplished, you have to defeat that. But at the same time, the end result, the outcome is that the body is going to catch back up. So you're going to be briefly falling, and then you allow the body to catch back up again.
So Chuck, I wonder if that's what I did. I had a clinic years ago with Sue Kramer, and she had to stand on a steep slope perpendicular to the fall line. And the term she used was huck yourself. Like when she said, move your body over your outside foot and like you're diving into a pool. It doesn't feel comfortable, but huck your body, she said, over that outside ski, release that edge. Is that what you're talking about?
It is kind of like that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
There is a certain, because our bodies are designed and have spent, in my case, 57 years standing, right? 56 years, I guess, standing and balancing and remaining in balance and trying to stay in balance, that the body's gotten very, very, very good at it. And when we go to ski, part of skiing is, well, this is where this whole idea comes from, actually skiing upside down. They called it the upside down turn. It's actually falling into the inside of the turn at the top of the turn with your center of mass, and literally like skiing upside down. And this is Harold Harb here demonstrating that upside down turn, where he's literally falling to the inside, and it doesn't look like he's going to catch up. We all know that centrifugal forces, as long as we align over the outside leg and that outside leg is engaged, will engage, has pressure, edging, we're sending in the standing, that it's going to engage and it's going to quickly come up and gather us up. Our ability to angulate is what helps us. So if we're a little too far inclined, we can over angulate, which will cause the ski to dip deeper, bend more, and come around faster. But you see it from a lot of these really, really great skiers, and especially World Cuppers, where they do. I mean, you've watched men's downhill or men's Super G or GS skiing. Those guys are literally flinging themselves down the mountain. Now, Ecox, it says, explains how the center of mass most efficiently moves across the new turn. That's that kind of falling or toppling feature. You remove the basis, part of our base support on the inside, and allow gravity to do the work. And trust me, this is going to be a brief explanation. I'm not going to get, you got 3 slides. This is it. If you're really, really interested, Ski Mac actually has a great deal with Tom Gelly, 40% off of his website, tons and tons and tons of information. I encourage you, it's worth the spend. It really is.
Or Ron Lemaster.
Ron Lemaster, yeah. Ron Lemaster, I think, is the one who came up with the initial concept.
Yes.
But Tom Gelly has definitely championed it and embraced it. Why toppling? It's supposed to be the most efficient way to move the center mass over the skis into the next turn. Automatically inclines the body into the next turn. That's that idea of falling inside, which is going to cause the new outside ski to go ahead and incline. And but it's not just inclination, it's also angulation, because it has to have an angulation piece in there. If you don't, you're probably heard this from trainers all the time. Too much inclination, not enough of everything else. You fall to the inside. That's kind of what our girl over here is doing. She's inclining, but she's not really angulating. It doesn't use as much energy, i.e., you're not pushing yourself through the old leg. You're allowing that leg, just flat getting it out of the way, and then allowing the body to tip down. More of a lateral movement and not up and down. A lot of the demonstrations I've seen have been talking about how the skier will come out of the turn this way, and they'll go ahead and stand on the new outside ski and then move in. And his idea is don't even go up. Don't align over the new outside ski and then go. Just go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Just move in. Get rid of the up and over. All right. How does edging fail? I'll let you guys do this. Let's watch a video. Any questions so far?
No, it's good.
Cool. So let's go back to our easy breezy cover girl. If I can find her. Okay, what did I do with her? There she is. What happened here? Oh, I had her on vid. That's the reason why. Okay, hold on. I want her on this, so. Short turn MA. There we go. All right. So she's not really creating a toppling movement, right? So the idea is that instead of going up and creating pressure on the new outside ski by pushing it, which is essentially what she's doing, Tom is suggesting that you just remove the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Get the leg out of the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and
After this discussion, now she looks very stiff to me.
well, and the problem is that it's not how many movements she's making, is how many movements she's not making, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's
As
that
compared to
idea
this
of
guy.
toppling right there. See how quickly he's to the inside of that turn?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, this video doesn't have a tremendous number of transitions, but he does show some. So that inside ski, he immediately gets off of it, like right at that, right here. You can see the ski kind of leaves the ground early. Right there. He's got it off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that he can fall to the inside of the next turn. And now that he's moved in, he starts to angulate.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll get like a really good transition here.
It would seem to me if you're a risk averting skier, toppling would not be your thing.
No. No, but I think the important thing is not that you're trying to fall. I mean, his
Mhm.
suggestion is that for training purposes, go out and really try to fall. See how quickly Riley gets, really, I mean, he does it so quickly here. But see how quickly he gets from one side to the other?
Mhm.
I wish he would show that he got off that foot. But I don't know why they did that. Transition's the best part. I don't want to see the turn. That's where all the good stuff happens, is transition.
Mhm.
He gets right here, and then yeah, see, there's air underneath that ski. He's gotten off of it. And he's like allowing his body, because his body's moving down the hill already, faster
Mhm.
than the skis. The skis are moving more across this hill. And he's allowing those skis to be directed to the outside of the next turn. He is quickly moving to the inside of the next turn. That's toppling.
Mhm.
And I mean, he gets extreme angles like now.
That's extreme. Yeah, that's pretty
Right,
damn good.
baby. And as Ski Max said last week, or no, he didn't say that last week. He said that on a Tuesday call. He's like, you have no idea how fast these guys are going. They're just screaming down the hill. Cool. A lot different than this girl, right?
Mhm.
But hey, this is where our gravy is made, right? This is our bread and
Yep.
butter.
Yes,
I'm
that's
not gonna
exactly
get
right.
it. I'm not gonna get very many gut Riley McGashins. I'm gonna get Tabitha here from Sioux City, Iowa, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, this is her third time skiing ever, and she's doing pretty dang good.
Mhm.
And she just wants to be able to keep up with her boys. But the whole idea is that she's not really aligning over the outside ski, which is not really allowing her to create edge angles. And that's why she's skidding a lot.
Mhm.
But the next question is that the outcome that she wants? Because it might be.
Mhm.
It might be.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's very smooth. It's flowing. You
It
know,
is. It's
just like
smooth and flowing, and she's staying in control. And
she
I
can go to the
honestly
bar.
don't know who this is. So she's got her fat skis on. The snow looks good. It's a beautiful day out,
Mhm.
right? And this might be all she wants. This might be her thing, her jam. But I'd like to see her. I'd like to introduce her to that concept of ankle tension, which would allow her to move her foot underneath her in her boot, which would allow her to put pressure on either the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot, to allow her to edge the ski more effectively, create a better platform where she doesn't feel like she's sliding. She slides a lot, right?
Yep.
Like there's a little bit of steering right about there, and then it's like skidding.
Mhm.
Ski stop turning.
It seems very intentional as I watch this more and more.
Yeah, it is. It's very intentional. I think we've reached the limit of what she knows.
Mhm.
All right, any questions?
No, that's good.
Cool. Looks like everybody bailed. Everybody has to go. Kathy Lyons, very valuable, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Thanks, Gummy, gotta go. All right, cool. All right, cool. Are you guys getting what you want out of this?
Yeah, it's just remembering it all. It's
Oh.
and just putting it together is just like it's a lot of work.
It is, well, this is a question I have for everybody is who wants to take up the mantle? You know what I mean? Because teaching it really kind of cements it in, right?
Yes.
So it's not just me going, "Bleh, here's a bunch of stuff with some kind of theme, hopefully. And the theme this year has been aligning the body over the outside ski,
Mhm.
but not in the fundamental way, but like in the functional, I have to have the center of mass aligned over the inside edge of the outside ski.
Yep.
And all
Yep.
these things, these fundamentals help me do that.
I'll bet.
I'll start with rotation.
Yeah. How was your Tuesday group with the level 3?
It was actually really good. The question was very Jenny. What is inspirational skiing? What makes it inspirational?
Yeah.
And the whole time she's like, I don't really have like a,